We are going to see about nature of managerial economics. Managerial economics is a stream of management studies which emphasizes solving business problems and decision making by applying the theories and principles of microeconomics and macroeconomics. For better understanding about managerial economics, we must know about the nature of managerial economics. Nature of managerial economics can be explained in various ways. Number one, it is microeconomics. Managerial economics can be macroeconomics. Managerial economics is normative in nature. It is positive in nature. Managerial economics can be seen as art and science. Managerial economics is of multidisciplinary in nature. It is elective and even known for dynamic. Let us in detail see each concept of nature of managerial economics. First, microeconomics. Managerial economics is said to be micro in nature as it deals with individual firm business problems, or it deals with individual firms' demand, individual firms' pricing policy, an individual firm's production planning, an individual firm's demand estimation, cost planning, profit margin, etc. So, it is the duty of the managerial economist to identify each and every problem that an individual firm has to face in their daily business activities. So, managerial economics is most of micro in nature as it provides solutions in the form of theories and practices for an individual firm's problems. Managerial economics is of macro in nature. So, for an successful running of a business, it is not only enough to identify and understand the micro level problems of a firm, but also it has to understand and analyze the macro aspects of an economy like government taxation, inflation, price level, rules, subsidies, etc. So, it is the duty of a managerial economist to aware the limits set by the macroeconomics conditions like government industrial policy, inflation, tax rates, subsidies, quality policies, etc. Information on these macro aspects will save a managerial economist from various loss perspectives. A better understanding of government or macro aspects like aggregate demand, aggregate supply, equilibrium positions in the market, profit levels set, all these aggregate concepts, macro concepts will give you a successful business administration. Next, managerial economics is said to be normative in approach. Normative in the sense it is of more opinion oriented. It is what ought to be. Managerial economics deals with how a demand to be, how a consumer will react to his product, how a consumer will get satisfaction out of his product, what are all the ways to understand the demand, to identify the demand, to attract the consumers, their psychology. So it is of more normative in nature. We call this as multidisciplinary, as the techniques drawn from various subjects as economics, management, statistics, mathematics, accountancy, psychology, organizational behavioral, sociology, etc. We call this multidisciplinary because we use statistics, mathematics in demand forecasting and estimation. We need to involve psychology as we are dealing with the consumer's taste and preferences. We have to deal with economic as there is a social factors, environmental factors involved in your business decision making. Management, which is very crucial for your business administration. So, managerial economics is of multidisciplinary in nature. Apart from this, we call managerial economics as an art because it is an art that offers the mode of dicing a particular thing. For example, if any problem in a business, individual firm happens, we have to deep dive into the problem and we have to establish an art of solving the problem which will have least disadvantages and most advantage. So, as an art, managerial economics will provide you a systematic and detailed way of solving a problem which will help you in your business administration and your decision making process to solve everyday business problems. We call managerial economics as a science as it establishes a relationship between cause and effect by collecting, classifying, analyzing the facts on the basis of certain principles. We call science because we can do experiment and prove that the theory can be applicable. In managerial economics, for example, if we have a demand forecast, we can prove it that the demand forecasted by a managerial economist is right after the sales record or by having a customer intake record. So we call this as science as we can do experiments in demand, supply, production process and they can be proved in turn, which makes managerial economics as a science as it will have a relationship between cause and effect. What causes the demand? How the effect of the demand can be collected, verified and checked in science. Apart from this, we call this as dynamic in nature. Dynamic in the sense it will keeps on changing to the existing business situations. In business, it is of more dynamic in nature. Business is of more dynamic in nature. Dynamic in the sense managerial economics will help a business man or an managerial economist to identify the day-to-day changes happening in the business and to amend your decisions or administration or business practices in such a way to go in line with the changes happening in the society. Dynamic in the sense business or day-to-day economic life changes every day. So it is a duty of the businessman or an economist or business manager to take on the business along with the changes happening to the business environment. So we call this as dynamic. We call this as elective as we use more of other disciplines like statistics, mathematics, accounts, etc. While these are the nature of managerial economics which have a clear understanding on how a managerial economics will be and how a managerial economics will help a manager in taking decisions. What are all the aspects that a managerial economist has to know in order to take decision making and problem solving in a most effective manner? Various views of nature of managerial economics will makes us to understand the wider scope of managerial economics and gives a knowledge to the managerial economist on how to utilize the managerial theories in their business aspects.